Okay, now you're simplifying with addition. That's a totally different ball game. Okay, now what you do in addition, you make a little line down on the side and you look at your bottoms. Okay, are the bottoms matching? Yes, so circle one of the bottoms and you just write a plus 3. This is the answer down here. Okay, now here's how you find what's on top. It's not hard, especially this one. It's going to seem like I'm overcomplicating it. I would make a parentheses for the first fraction, a parentheses for the second. Now look on top of the first. Is there any multiplication? No. So you just put 2 down. Is there any multiplication here? No, you put 4 down, and you add 2 plus 4. That's 6 last time I checked. Yeah. Okay. Next problem. Check your bottoms. Do they match up? Yeah, we have exactly the same thing, so circle one of them, and you just put that whatever the common denominator is. It's right there. It's just in one of them. Then, to find your top, I would go make 2 parentheses. Is there any multiplication I need to do on top here? No, so I just drop 2x squared minus 3. Is there any multiplication here? No. X second minus 5x minus 9. Now you simplify something like this by combining the like terms. X squared, x, constant. So 2 plus 1 is 3. You'd have negative 5, and then negative 3, negative 9 is negative 12. Oh yeah, one thing, go back up here. If you have a plus, I would like that in parentheses, or a minus. Okay, so I would like those expressions in parentheses in your final answer. So you just bring that over. Instead of plus negative, I usually just write minus. We got plus minus there, put it in parentheses, put it in parentheses. Now the reason I'm having you put that in parentheses, because a really top-notch teacher would have you make the 3 lines. You would take that to the T-chart. It actually, the GCFT, it actually ends up as this. GCFT ends up as x minus 1, x minus 3, then those can cancel, and I would have these, okay? There's no outer factors. I'm not going to make you do that. Just get to this point, okay? After you're done, you got your common denominator, and you found what could go on top. I'm not going to make you go further. Other teachers may, but I'm not going to, okay? So you do GCFT, you'd end up with these 2. In GCFT, you'd end up with these 2. These would cancel, giving you this over this. So on up. That would be the answer some teachers would look for. I'm good with that at this point in the game. Okay. Now, if you have minus, you make it plus, and just a number after the top of the second one goes to the opposite. Just the top. Okay, not the bottom. Just enumerate. Okay, a little problem here. These aren't matching. Well, then that kind of creates a problem. Okay. So when they're not matching, you need to extend the lines. Okay, just make 2 big extensions of the fraction lines. And then write CD for common denominator. Now before we fill in the extensions, you need to apply parentheses where needed. That doesn't have a plus minus, that doesn't get one. Neither does that. There's no plus minus there, no plus minus there, so no parentheses. Okay, so you just drop everything down below. Basically, essentially, just copy it. There is a parentheses, you're going to need to check for some factoring, okay, on your scratch paper. But you're only going to have to do the bottoms, not the tops. Even if the top had a parentheses, I don't need to put it and rewrite it, okay? But there's no parentheses anywhere. So your common denominators, you look in the denominator. I'm going to put a multiplication dot, so I have a factor of 6 there. I have x to the second here, but you don't call it x second. If you have any kind of x not in a parentheses, you call it outer x. Meaning it's not in parentheses, not x second. Don't do that. You'll see why here in a bit. Then I move over here. So I have an 8 factor. And then I have another outer x factor. I already wrote that, so I don't write it again. Don't repeat the same thing in the common denominator more than once. Now here's what we do. We compare. How many factors of 6 does this bottom have? 1. How about this one? 0. Make it so they both have 1. Well, that already has 1, so then I times 6 here and times 6 here. You got to also times it on top when you bring it into the bottom. Okay, now they each have 1 factor of 6 on the bottom. Outer x. Well, x second means there's 2. X without a power means there's 1. We need to make it so they both have 2. So that already has the 2. This one here, you just times x times x. Now that has 2. X second stands for 2. 8. This has 0 factors of 8. This has 1. Okay? So you get them both so they have 1 factor of 8. Well, this has the 1. This one's the one you adjust. Okay? Now you're good to go. Okay? Now your bottoms are the same. They might not look the same, but they are. Okay? Because you're going to simplify. You're going to take 8 times 6 to get 48, and then you're going to take the x times the x, and that's x second. Okay. Now, what's on top? You think in the same way, but now you got some multiplication to do. See, if you have multiplication, you don't want to fill that in. You need to take 5 times 8. That's 40. So this will be filled in with 40. Then here you're going to take negative 5 times 6 times x. You're going to write x down. Negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. So we got a constant and we have an x. So I put x constant, negative 30, and then 40. So put negative 30x plus 40. Now if the top has a plus, we're going to put that in parentheses. The bottom would not get a parentheses. Now a good teacher would make you make the 3 lines, okay? And you do GCFT with that parentheses expression, you actually end up with negative 10, because the GCF's negative 10, and then 3x minus 4 wouldn't be a dot. So this one would just carry over. So this would be in the answer. Then I'd simplify the outers. That'd be 2, so it'd be negative 5 over 16, x second. I'm not going to make you do that, though. Okay? Get there and we're good. Okay, next problem. Just get the common denominator, find the top. That's all I need on this. Okay. The bottoms do not match. You need to draw the extensions if they don't match and do the CD. Notice how I didn't draw the extensions on the first 2 problems because the bottoms already matched. Okay. Okay, you got to, before you come down here, you got to put parentheses where needed. There's no parentheses to the 8 or the 5. There's no plus or minus there. There's no plus or minus there. Okay. So, you're just bringing everything down. Okay, so CD. Well, you have a 9. X third means outer X. 6. And then another outer x with a different power, but it's still in the outer x category. So 9, I have 1 factor of 9 there, 0 here. Make it both so they have 1. This has the 1, this is the one we need to go to. Outer x, x third stands for 3 factors of outer x. X second stands for 2. Make it so they have 3. This already has a 3, so I come to the one where there's 2 and just make another x factor. Now there's 3. Also remember to do the top. 6, 0 here, and 1 here. So make it so they both have 1. That already has the 1. This does not. So now the bottoms match. They might look a little different, but they have the same value. 6 times 9 is, just circle one of them. 6 times 9 is 54. And then the x second times the x is x to the third. Now look on top, on the first fraction, do you have multiplication? Yes, you need to find what 8 times 6 is before you come here. That's 48. Okay, you got multiplication on top of the second one. Yes, you do not want to put that. You need to find the product before you fill in the parentheses. So I'd put x, and that's 45, so it'd be 45x. Okay, so it's x with a constant, so it'd be 45 and then 48. Okay. Alright, so you're just going to bring that straight over. And please put parentheses on expressions with plus and minus, okay? That one doesn't get one. Because you see, a good teacher would make you do the 3 lines here, okay? You'd have to GCF DOPS that. The GCF's 3, and then that was not a DOPS, so I would rewrite that as this. This would just carry over. That would drop down. This over this, you would reduce, divide by 3. 1 over 18, and the x third. I'm not going to make you do that, okay? Just get there. Okay, next problem. Again, the denominators clearly are not matching, so we need to extend them, and CD stands for me getting a common denominator. You got to apply parentheses where needed. I don't think I need them on this one. That wouldn't, that wouldn't, that wouldn't, that wouldn't. So no parentheses, everything's just going to drop down. Okay, so in your denominators you have a 2. X second means outer x. You have a 5, and then you have outer x again. Okay, so 2, 1, and 0. Get them both so they have 1. This already has the 1, 2. This needs 1, 2. Outer x, x second means that's 2 outer x factors. X without a power means 1. We need to make it both so they have 2. So that already has a 2. It's here I need to adjust. So it's already got 1. I just put a second one. And then they're good. 5. Remember, the top don't count, Holmes. It's just the bottom. We have 0 factors of 5 on the bottom. And then 1 here. It's all about the bottoms when analyzing. Okay, so this already has the 1, 5. It's over here. I don't care if there's a 5 on top. It doesn't mean nothing. Okay, now I think the bottoms match, okay? 5 times 2 is 10. X times x, x second. Now before we go filling these in, the top here has multiplication. You need to multiply and then fill it in with 25. 4 times 2 times x is going to be 8x. So we have x in the constant. Please put a parentheses there. If I made you do the 3 lines, you would get nowhere with that. The GCF's 1, it's not a DOP, so it would just be carried straight over. Really, this is already simplified any way you cut it, okay? There's no outer things on top, so yeah. Okay, now the next, now things start to get a little bit hairy, okay? The bottoms don't match, you extend the lines. This is why I have said put a parentheses, not there, there, and there, okay? Now the parentheses have been applied. The tops, you just drop down. Even if the tops have a parentheses, you don't need to worry. But if the bottoms have parentheses, you need to try to factor them. For if the bottoms do. If the tops do, you need to put it, but you can just drop it. You don't need to do to factor the tops. You need parentheses if needed, but these wouldn't have them because there's no plus there or minus, no plus there. These are just one term each, okay? Bottoms get parentheses, so GCF DOPS. To find its common denominator, you need to factor if you have a parentheses on bottom, okay? Okay, I'm not seeing the x, I'm not seeing the negative. 4 and 20 is 4. So it becomes 1x minus 5. So you bring your 4 down. You have the minus. You can take the 1 off the x, but x isn't a second power. That's why that's been crossed off. Okay, so you rewrite that as 4 and then x minus 5. And then we do the same thing here with 6x minus 30. Okay, GCF, and then DOPS, it's 2 terms. No x, no negative, 6 and 36. You use your multiplication table. That's 1x minus 5. So you bring down your 6. Okay, that does have a minus, but I can take the 1 off. X didn't even have a power, so that's a no. So it's just x minus 5. So you replace this with this. Now here's the point of doing that. Okay. Bottom, you have a 4 factor. You have a parentheses x minus 5 factor. Then you have a 6 factor and another x minus 5. So 4 factors, I have 1 and 0. So the one that has 0 I put right here. X minus 5, I'm at 1 to 1. Okay, if you're at 1 to 1, check it. You don't have to do anything. 6, 0 factors of 6 on bottom here, 1 factor of 6 here. So the one that has 1 I leave, and over here I put times 6. Now the bottoms match. Now when you have a parentheses, you write them down. Now you need to multiply the outsides. 6 times 4 is 24. Okay. Alright, now let's fill these in. So on top I have to multiply 3x times 6. And that's 18x. Then in the second fraction, okay? Second fraction is just, whoops, my bad. I forgot the times 4 on top. My bad, I brought in the times 4. I got to bring it on top. So I knew that looked fishy. Okay, 36x. Okay. So you just have x, and 18 plus 36 is 54, 54x. And you already have the parentheses where this would not be parenthesized. There's no plus or minus. You already have the minus parenthesized there. Now a good teacher would make you make your 3 lines. You would just put that on the bottom of the third line and you would simplify the 54x over the 24. They'd both be in the 2 row, but we're not doing that. Okay. Next one. Bottoms don't match. Okay. So do the extension, do your CD, and you have to ask yourself, do we need not there? Put a parentheses, put a parentheses, put a parentheses. Now, the top I know has a parentheses, but I do not need to try to factor it. X plus 6 you can't factor. Even if you could, you wouldn't try. Okay, it's all about the bottoms when doing the adding, the common denominator. Okay, you just drop that down, but it does need to be in parentheses. Okay. Now, bottom parentheses need to be factored. The top parentheses don't. You need to have the parentheses where they're needed, but if it's a parentheses on top, you still don't need to try to factor it. Because adding is all about the common denominator. X second minus 2x minus 35. So 3 terms, that would be GCF, and then the table. There's no x, no, it's just 1, okay? 1 times negative 35 is negative 35, so that's a mismatch of a positive times a negative. We are adding here to try to make negative 2. Divide by 2 is a decimal, divide by 3 is a decimal, divide by 4 is a decimal, and then 5 and 7 don't give up. Okay, there it is. A is 1x to the second. Okay. So you put your positive 5, I think you know what's going to happen here. You can put the 1s in front of the x's, but it doesn't simplify. Take the 1 away. Doesn't simplify there either. Okay. So x plus 5 and x minus 7. So replace this with this. What you got? Okay, and then you have to factor the other bottom. So that's 3 terms, GCF table. No, 1, 7, and 10 is 1. 1 times 10 is 10. Positive 10, it's got to be a match, okay? It's got to add to positive 7 so they'd match as positives, okay? So 1 and 10, no, it's 11. 2 and 5, there's your 7, okay? So positive 2, positive 5. That's a positive 2 there. A is 1x second. Okay, so 1 and 2, you can't simplify that. Drop the 1 though. And we're going to do the same thing here. Okay. Can't be simplified, drop it if you got 1x plus 5. Okay. So cross that out and you replace this with this. So you do have to do some factoring on this if the bottoms can be factored. Some of them, they don't have parentheses on bottom, they can't be factored. You go to your CD. Now you have parentheses of x plus 5, x minus 7, x plus 2, and x plus 5, which I already have written that down. Don't write it twice. X plus 5, 1, 1. That's good. Check it. X minus 7, 1 and 0. So this 1, I bring in x minus 7. Got to bring it on top. X plus 2, 0 and 1. Okay, so the bottoms match. Okay, now they do. So you got x, just keep the parentheses. But we need to figure out what goes on top. Top, we're going to have to multiply. Obviously, you have multiplication. So you distribute 4x to 1x, and then 4x to 2. So that's 4x to the second, okay? That's going to be 8x. These cannot be combined, just nothing can be combined. Write that. Now, here, you have to multiply. That's the FOIL method. So 1x to 1x, 1x to negative 7. 6 to 1x, and 6 to negative 7. So that's 1x second, negative 7x, positive 6x, and negative 42. These two get combined into negative 1x, so it's 1x second minus 1x, and then negative 42. Okay, so your x second, your x, and your constant is how to combine those. So x second, 4 and 1's 5, x, 8, negative 1, 7, and then negative 42. So just put that above. Since there are pluses and minuses, we do put it in parentheses. I'm not going to make you try to factor it, okay? All right, next problem, last problem here. Denominators clearly are not the same, so you make the extension, okay? Put your CD down. Okay, you got a plus, you put that in parentheses. You put that one, that one, that one. Now, despite having parentheses on the top, we don't need to try to factor those. You just bring them straight down. They need to be in parentheses. You just don't need to try to rewrite them, okay? But the bottoms is what you need to deal with. You have x to the second minus 2x minus 3. So that's 3 terms. So that'd be GCF. And then the table. No x, no negative, 1, 2, and 3 is 1. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. Okay. Okay, so it's a mismatch of a positive and a negative. You add to negative 2. 1 and 3 accomplishes just what you wanted. Okay. Your a is 1x to the second. So positive 1, negative 3. Then it'd just be x, and then 1, 1. These can't be simplified if the coefficient's 1. Take the 1 off, you got x plus 1. Take the 1 off, you got x minus 3. Okay, so you'd rewrite those, cross that out. X plus 1, x minus 3. Okay, x second minus 9. It's on the, if it's a parentheses on bottom, you need to factor it. So this would be GCF and DOPS. Okay, I'm not seeing x, not seeing the negative. 1 and 9's 1. Okay. Definitely adopts, okay? You take the 1 off, it'd be x, and then 9's 3 and 3. So x, 3, 3. So you rewrite that as x plus 3, x minus 3. Okay. All right. Now you're ready for your common denominator. So you got x plus 1. You've got x minus 3. You have x plus 3. You have x minus 3, which I already wrote down. So x plus 1, 1, and 0. So this has the 1 factor of x plus 1. You need to come over here and put it there. Okay, x minus 3, I think we're good. 1, 1. X plus 3, we have 0, and then 1. Okay, so this has the x plus 3. This one needs it. Okay, now you have the common denominator set. So x plus 3, x minus 3, x plus 1. Okay, set up your parentheses. I need to find any multiplication on on top of the first one. So you take 2x times 1x, then 2x times 3, then 7 times 1x, and 7 times 3. So it's 2x to the second, 6x, 7x, 21. Combine those into 13x. So 2x second plus 13x plus 21. Okay, now in the second one, multiply it 3x to 1x, 3x to 1, negative 2 to 1x, and negative 2 times 1. Okay, 3x second, 3x, negative 2x, negative 2. You combine the x's, that makes 1x. So 3x second plus 1x minus 2. Okay, your x's, x second, x constant. So x second, you got a 2 and a 3, that's 5. X, you got a 13 and a 1, that's 14. Constants, 21 and negative 2 is 19. Just bring that over. I'm not going to waste your time trying to factor that. Okay, get there and that's good. Now, assignment's 4 problems. This one's already got the common denominator. Okay, you don't need to do the line extension, any of that crap. You just simply line it up.